You are now tuned in to the multi-nominated, award-winning Game Spitting Chronicles podcast, hosted by the homie Cuzzo, UBZ. It's the Chronicles podcast. 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 It's the Chronicles podcast.
What up, y'all? This is your boy Cuzzo, and we are back for the Chronicles podcast. How is everybody? Did you get goals accomplished this week? Did you get good game from last week's episode? Because Cuzzo gave a lot of good game when it came to the whole housing and the 25K, but we're going to get into more today, you dig? So we are fresh off the DNC convention, that is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They said the ratings were very high. That's what they're saying. That Kamala's speech brought in amazing viewership. But was it the speech itself? Was it Kamala? Or was it the fact that they lied and said Beyonce was going to show up? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They said it was seen by 26 to 29 million viewers. That's damn good. We got to give it up for that. But throughout the week, there were rumors swirling that Beyonce was going to show up. A lot of political commentators were saying Beyonce was going to show up. Beyonce. It was being hyped up. And after Kamala gave her speech, or Kamala, excuse me. You got to pronounce it right, remember? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Once it was announced, that pretty much Beyonce was not showing up, you could tell after the balloons fell and everything, people were distraught. People were upset. They felt like they were bamboozled. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a flat out rumor that she would show up. Nobody knew this for a fact that she was going to show up, but they had been hyping it and hyping it and hyping it the whole time. Well, let's just hear it ourselves.
There are rumors that Beyonce might make an appearance. I personally think that that's true, but we shall see.
We're going to say this now. Can I say this?
Well, wait, let's couch it in rumors and rumblings.
Okay, let's just say, that's out there, the Beyonce talk.
You have to stay tuned, but I have it on really good word. The Beehive is buzzing right now because the preparation for the Beehive, it has to start early. Sources come from backstage. That's all I'll tell you.
Okay.
TMZ and The Hill reporting that she will indeed be making a surprise performance on stage here.
Congressman was just dancing along, and he's excited that he's hearing rumors, which a donor confirmed to me that she's also hearing that Beyonce is en route.
President of all things music and fashion and style, i.e. Beyonce, is going to show up. Queen Bey.
Surprise guest tonight. Beyonce?
I know Beyonce's got to be in town, right? My gosh, is that what we're in for? A Beyonce show tonight?
There are rumors that Beyonce may be there this evening.
It was almost a mic drop moment. We may see Beyonce.
Is the United Center going to be turning into the Beehive tonight? Earlier today, we spoke with Christy George, the executive director of the DNC host committee.
Holding out hope for Beyonce.
Is that going to happen?
I don't know, but that's what I
whispering
want.
about it around here. I know. I thought you would have the insider tip on that.
I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. They're keeping it very close to the vest.
Of course, like everyone else, we're hoping that Beyonce makes an appearance.
There could be a surprise performance from Beyonce.
Is that a Beyonce song playing right now? And is that telling us something possibly? Breaking news. Breaking Beyonce news. The rumor has it Beyonce may be performing. Someone's doing a warm-up with her song. I'm just saying, Rachel, two pretty powerful black women up on the stage together.
We'll see if we get Beyonce. And Beyonce or no Beyonce?
I'm guessing she's here.
We're hearing rumors about Beyonce. I tried to get Senator Booker to give me the tea on that, but he just played coy.
Beyonce comes out, I just may lose my cool just a little bit.
Charles, we're going to break you off right now to get you back on the hunt for Beyonce in the building.
So they dragged that on and on and on, knowing damn well she wasn't there. Come on. You can't make this up. A representative for Beyonce said she was never scheduled to attend the DNC or perform. So that poses the question, were many of those viewers watching to see Kamala Harris speak, or were they watching in anticipation for a Beyonce appearance that was never going to happen? See, this is where it gets dicey, because we have to be able to kind of gauge where Kamala is at politically and where we think she's at as far as appearances, people actually digging her vibe, as they say, in being in tune with what Kamala's message is. We have to be able to decipher Kamala from the shenanigans. So when she's having all these rallies and everything, we have to wonder, okay, if you have Megan Thee Stallion performing, if you have all these artists performing at your campaign rallies, are people coming for the free concert, or are they coming for you? Because some speaking engagements, you only got 5,000, some 60 people were there. Then in other venues, you can get 10,000 plus. I mean, what are we doing here? We need to be able to gauge it. That's just my opinion, though. We just got to be able to gauge it. We have to know exactly what it's looking like as far as the enthusiasm for her base. But that's that. But, just wrapping up the DNC, I thought I had to say that because, at the end of the day, it's funny. Then there was a young woman who came out who was a former Democratic campaign worker who spoke out after she attended the DNC. And I thought it was really interesting. It's a little lengthy, but she goes into her thought process and why her opinion changed. And I think it's very interesting and very telling to hear what she has to say.
Okay, I'm gonna get real in this, and it's probably gonna piss some people off, but I'm okay with that, because if I'm not being honest, then what else am I doing? I just got back from the DNC where I signed up to volunteer, and when I initially had signed up to volunteer, Joe Biden was still the nominee. It wasn't yet Kamala Harris. I've worked in progressive politics for a long time. I have worked for many different Democratic candidates, Senate candidates, House candidates, even some Democratic organizations. And as the years have gone by, I found myself getting more and more disillusioned with the Democratic Party, although until now I've never said that out loud or anywhere public. And I just want to say that by saying this, I'm not necessarily saying that the other party is better. I'm just giving you my experience with working with the Democrats. Throughout my career, I've mostly done campaign fundraising, so I've seen it the way that it works behind the scenes. And I know that candidates spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day just calling donors and begging rich people for money. It's pretty much the only people that they talk to. I mean, of course, sometimes they have to talk to voters, but the majority of their time is just spent calling and begging rich people to give them money for their campaigns. And what this inevitably means is that we don't actually live in a democracy. It's just rich people calling the shots and having the access to talk to the politicians. They're the ones that basically get their ear all day. They're the ones that can help shape and prioritize what the politician actually focuses on. Even the politicians that detest this, that want to get big money out of politics, still have to play this game. They still have to make these calls. They still do the same amount of just calling rich people and begging them for money. And what unfortunately happens once they get into office, if they get into office, is that they soon realize that the money machine is so great and the seduction of power is so immense that they no longer adhere to these values. When I first got into politics, I thought that Democrats were the party of the people. And at the DNC this week, I felt like I was in a building with the most elite and out-of-touch people in the entire world. It very much felt like, let's just have a huge party and forget all of our problems because the vibes are brat. When I was there, I didn't feel any connection to real America or the place that I come from, which is the Midwest, Kansas City, Kansas, and Missouri. I didn't feel any connection to the people that I know right now who are struggling to buy their groceries or to pay their rent. The people who want to know what both candidates are going to do to materially affect change in their lives. And when I was there listening to the speeches, I felt myself feeling mad because I didn't hear anything about the economy. Definitely not in Kamala's speech and not very much in the others as well. Instead, I heard generic platitudes, things like joy and respect and integrity, and what does that even mean? Let's make the military the most lethal in the world? I thought I was part of the anti-war party. I thought I was part of the party that fought for the underdog, that championed working people. When and how did we just become the party of academia and affluence? Because that's what we are right now. How can we ever say that we're going to fight corporate power or give a voice back to those communities that have been left behind when above the delegates on the floor in levels and levels and rings of suites with donors and corporations that we're literally looking down on the people below from above? That's what Chris Cuomo said, and he's absolutely right. You know, I went to the DNC this year hoping that I would feel reconnected to the Democratic Party, that I would have more of a sense of understanding of Kamala and her candidacy and what she stood for. But instead, I ended up leaving and feeling the opposite, more disconnected and alone than ever. And I don't think I can support Kamala Harris for president. I don't even know if I can call myself a Democrat anymore. I don't know who I'm going to be supporting, but I know it's not her. And for once, I'm not afraid to say it.
And there you have it. Now, salute to that content creator. You know, we have to understand that, you know, people are going to have different views. So we know that she has her view as being someone that, you know, participated in that process. But she's feeling like a lot of people across this country are feeling. A lot of people feel forgotten. A lot of people are wondering about groceries. I saw Twan posted a picture, and I forgot how much Twan said he paid, but it looked like it was about 9 items in his basket. People are struggling. And this ties into the last episode, because when Chris Cuomo was talking about all the donors and the suites looking down on everyone, it's the truth. When you have candidates that talk about they're fighting for the middle class and to help people make it and understanding the struggle and everything, their pockets are being lined with donor money. And it's even worse when you're in part of an incumbent administration who's acting like they're running for office, not like they're not already in office. People have been waiting for Kamala Harris to do an interview. We got an interview today. Well, we got something. Gotta rephrase that. You know? Yeah. We have to rephrase what happened. Now, I'm going to play snippets of this interview, but you guys listen for the answers that she's giving to these questions. And we're going to go through them. These are snippets of the interview. They're saying the interview's only 18 minutes. I watched the interview and I saw it's weird because CNN pretty much did a puff piece on her because they did a lot of propping her up, but then the interview had no substance at all. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But let's get into it.
President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for sitting down with me and bringing the bus. The bus tour is well underway here in Georgia. You have less time to make your case to voters than any candidate in modern American history. The voters are really eager to hear what your plans are. If you are elected, what would you do on day one in the White House?
Well, there are a number of things. I will tell you, first and foremost, one of my highest priorities is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class. When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward, in a way that generations of Americans have been fueled by hope and by optimism. I think, sadly, in the last decade, we have had in the former president someone who has really been pushing an agenda and in an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans, really dividing our nation, and I think people are ready to turn the page on that.
So what would you do day one?
Day one, it's going to be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families, for example, extending the child tax credit to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life to help them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now. So there are a number of things on day one.
Now, Dana Bash, the interviewer, she's not prodding this at all. You know, Kamala took quite a while to actually get to something about what she's going to be doing. I still didn't really hear anything about, okay, this is definitely the first priority of when we get in the White House. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do this, this, and this. I didn't hear that. But we'll keep going.
You talked about, you call it the opportunity economy. You are well aware that right now many Americans are struggling. There's a crisis of affordability. One of your campaign themes is we're not going back. But I wonder what you say to voters who do want to go back when it comes to the economy specifically, because their groceries were less expensive, housing was more affordable when Donald Trump was president.
Well, let's start with the fact that when Joe Biden and I came in office, during the height of a pandemic, we saw over 10 million jobs were lost. People, I mean, literally, we were all tracking the numbers. Hundreds of people a day were dying because of COVID. The economy had crashed. In large part, all of that because of mismanagement by Donald Trump of that crisis. When we came in, our highest priority was to do what we could to rescue America. And today, we know that we have inflation at under 3%. A lot of our policies have led to the reality that America recovered faster than any wealthy nation around the world. But you are right. Prices, in particular for groceries, are still too high. The American people know it, I know it. Which is why my agenda includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries. For example, dealing with an issue like price gouging. What we need to do to extend the child tax credit to help young families be able to take care of their children in their most formative years. What we need to do to bring down the cost of housing. My proposal includes what would be a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers, so they can just have enough to put a down payment on a home, which is part of the American dream and their aspiration, but do it in a way that allows them to actually get on the path to achieving that goal and that dream.
That's not enough, as we covered last week. That $25K is not enough. We've already covered that. You know that, Kamala. You know that's not enough. You know you've just raised the price of homes by $25K. Let's continue.
President for 3.5 years. Yeah. The steps that you're talking about now, why haven't you done them already?
Well, first of all, we had to recover as an economy, and we have done that. I'm very proud of the work that we have done that has brought inflation down to less than 3%.
What? Brought it down? Yeah, that's what she said. Let's continue.
Inflation again. I just want to ask
about... Not only push it, I will make sure that it comes to my desk and I would sign it.
Just one other question about something that you said in 2019 when you first ran. There was a debate. You raised your hand when asked whether or not the border should be decriminalized. Do you still believe that?
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally, and there should be consequence. And let's be clear, in this race, I'm the only person who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. I'm the only person in this race who actually served a border state as Attorney General to enforce our laws, and I would enforce our laws as president going forward. I recognize the problem.
I wouldn't sit up here and tout you doing that in California as some big trophy. I really wouldn't. That's just me. Let's continue.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not changed.
And we definitely can't let Tim Walz not get any action because he claimed he carried a weapon in war. Remember?
The country is just starting to get to know you. I want to ask you a question about how you've described your service in the National Guard. You said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone. A campaign official said that you misspoke. Did you?
Well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud. I've done 24 years of wearing the uniform of this country. Equally proud of my service in a public school classroom, whether it's Congress or the governor. My record speaks for itself, but I think people are coming to get to know me. I speak like they do. I speak candidly. I wear my emotions on my sleeves, and I speak especially passionately about our children being shot in schools and around guns. So I think people know me. They know who I am. They know where my heart is. And again, my record has been out there for over 40 years to speak for itself.
And the idea that you said that you were in war, did you misspeak as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct. But again, if it's not this, it's an attack on my children for showing love for me, or it's an attack on my dog. I'm not going to do that. And the one thing I'll never do is I'll never demean another member's service in any way. I never have, and I never will.
Huh? Nigga, answer the question. This was a big misstep in her campaign. It's already out on social media. People are already saying this was not good. I went to the YouTube video of the interview afterwards, looked at the comments, and a lot of people are saying this is a bullshit interview. Kamala, I'm here to give you advice as well. I give the Trump campaign advice. I'll give your campaign some advice. Cuzzo's here for everybody, you dig? That's exactly what I want to do. Your first interview, Kamala, it has to be in the gutter. You've got to. You should have went to Fox News and let either a Tucker Carlson or a Sean Hannity conduct your interview. Now, we know that, of course, Tucker's not with Fox, but you could have went on Tucker's platform. He gets millions of views. Let's go. Kamala, you need and I don't agree with a lot of these political people, these pundits, as you will, but you need a Tucker Carlson, you need a Sean Hannity, you need a Bill O'Reilly to interview you, somebody that's really going to ask and plug away with tough questions that you're going to have to show that you can get in the dirt, have a dialogue, go back and forth in kind of show the country who you are and that you can handle this. Because looking at that interview, a lot of people don't think you can sit across from Vladimir Putin or China and sit up here and come up and gain the upper hand in the negotiation. I gotta say it. When I saw that interview, her interview didn't exert confidence. It didn't exert the things that I look for in a leader. Because a lot of people are so caught up in, okay, well, she is the candidate. She's running for president. Yes, but we also have to remember she's going to be engaging. Remember, engaging the world with dialogue, not just engaging, our country. We know that she has to be the president of the United States, the representative of us, but not only of us, to the world itself. When she goes to the UK, when she goes to the G7s and all these things, she has to represent. I don't see it in that interview. I don't see it. I don't feel she didn't seem confident when she talked. She didn't believe herself and I didn't believe her. Just saying. It's the truth. In some parts, people are even pointing out that it looked like she had an earpiece and was listening to people feed her information. Looking at the footage when they showed that, I wouldn't disagree with it. Do I know whether or not that's true? No, but it has to be stated. She seemed like she was being fed answers, and then the softball questions from Dana Bash didn't help. Dana Bash was not there to hurt. She was there to help, and not only help, she was there to kickstand this interview. You've got to be in the trenches taking questions now, Kamala. You've got to take weekly interviews, and you got to do more than CNN. You got to do more. You've got to do townhouses. You've got to do all that. You've got to go to the NABJ like Trump did. You've got to go in the gutter. Trump's out here talking to streamers, prominent people on YouTube. He has another interview out. Can't think of his name. Who is a big podcaster? He interviews a lot of military people. Let me look him up real quick. I want to say Sean Ryan. I don't want to butcher it, so I'm looking it up for sure. Yep, the Sean Ryan show. Just did the Sean Ryan show. I mean, we're looking at Trump do interviews with content creators and everything. Once again, doing interviews with these people. Kamala's got to get out there and do the same thing. She can't just do a bullshit CNN interview and think she's going to get over. Trump did Theo Von. I mean, he's out here, he's getting in touch with the youth, with the content creators, and figuring this thing out. Trump doesn't necessarily have to be out on the road campaigning. Ground game is good, yes, But when you can reach people outside of the mainstream media, people that have a following of millions and millions of people, he already broke records with Elon's, but that's just to show Trump's campaign, and a lot of people are giving credit to Barron, his son, his campaign is in tune with what's going on. Kamala doesn't seem to have that. Having a lot of comedians and people that do local radio and syndicated radio, that doesn't really help what you're trying to accomplish. You've got to be places where people don't expect you to be. You've got to pop up. You can't tell people to say it to your face and then people roll up on you and you ain't got shit to say. So whoever's handling your media portion, telling you not to take questions, criticism, and all that, you need to fire them because they're doing you a disservice. You've got to get dirty in the mud. You've got to do any interview anybody wants to do. You should be trying to do it because you're trying to run this country. That's the route you need to go. Sexual chocolate. Yeah. Y'all already know what it is, man. We back in this thing, man. We've got to talk about migrants again. We've got to. Did you hear about the migrants in San Diego that tried to hijack 2 school buses? Did you hear about it? I know you didn't hear about it. That's okay. That's what Cuzzo's here for, to tell you. Let's go.
A group of migrants tried to board a school bus this morning while it was traveling to a school. The superintendent for the Humboldt del Zura Union School District informed parents of that incident earlier today. It happened at one of the stops on the school district's bus route that heads to Oak Grove Middle School and Humboldt Primary. Meanwhile, yesterday afternoon, in a similar area along another route, the superintendent says that a group of migrants tried to stop another bus. Border Patrol, CHP, and the Sheriff's Office have now been informed of these incidents. The superintendent says that for the safety of everyone, if a driver sees a group of migrants at a bus stop, they will drive past it and move on to the next.
Let me tell you something. I catch a motherfucker trying to board a school bus with my kid on it, I'm going to give that motherfucker a different kind of education. This is where we're at. This situation has gotten out of hand. But Kamala wants to assure you that she's on top of it and she will nip it in the bud when she becomes president, even though she's vice president. How does that work? Make it make sense. I mean, California is a shit show anyway right now. Shouts to my boy Dozen. He hit me up and told me about the whole 100K thing to the migrants, and I told him, well, yeah. I love my brother, man. Yeah. I love my brother. But California, we had a conversation about it. We admitted California is in the shitter. Now, they're looking to hopefully push a bill through that would give up to $150,000 in taxpayer-backed home loans. Let's talk about it.
In the meantime, illegal immigrants in California now one step closer to receiving state funds that they could use for a down payment on a home. Senior national correspondent William LaJeunesse reports. Hi, William.
Well, Martha, the bill just passed the state Senate. It now goes back to the Assembly, where Democrats have a supermajority, and aides tell me it is likely to pass. The bill makes illegal migrants eligible for $150,000 to buy a new home. Lawmakers created the program so citizens and legal residents could afford to live here. But last week, Democrats changed the law to say this: an applicant who meets requirements for the loan assistance program shall not be disqualified solely based on the applicant's immigration status.
The social and economic benefits of homeownership should be accessible to everyone, regardless of immigration status.
So the program provides first-time buyers with a zero-interest loan up to 20% of the home's purchase price. So that's up to $150,000 cash up front for a down payment and closing costs. This year, this $255 million program sold out in 11 hours, requiring a lottery. 18,000 applied, 2,000 got loans. And when a home sells, the state is repaid with a small percentage of any appreciation. The bill is sponsored by a prominent Latino rights group with close ties to Vice President Harris.
What the rest of the America needs to be worried about is the Kamala Harris-Walz administration taking these crazy California ideas and nationalizing them and taking them to the rest of the country. The country can't afford to buy illegal immigrants' homes.
Well, this bill does have a lot of Democratic support. The question is, does Governor Newsom sign it? If it passes, smart money in Sacramento tells me he does.
Folks, we can't afford it. You guys cannot afford that. I can't afford it. We can't afford it. But we can afford shirts, merchandise, gear from needleandthreadsco.com. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Yeah. I know many of you think this is a bad decision from the California Senate. I agree. But I've got to tell you, needleandthreadsco.com, you can get your encourage, or I am here to encourage bad decisions t-shirt. Let's go. Hot off the presses, one of Twan's new shirts. Twan's doing his thing, needleandthreadsco.com. I am here to encourage bad decisions t-shirts. You got to go get one. That's needleandthreadsco.com. Let's go. Some bad decisions are good decisions. And a shirt like that, it's a good decision, baby. Ah, man. But that's where it's going. Gavin Newsom's he wants to stay kind of quiet on it. You know why? Because he's waiting for the election. A lot of people could use that to help themselves get a home. Even though we're paying for it, That should be something for Americans. And I already broke down the 25K. How do they think the 150K is going to work? How do they think this is going to work? Like I said last week, people don't understand you can't just go somewhere with $25,000 and say, I'm putting this down on a home. No, motherfucker, it's a process. I'm not going to sit up here and hang around and dwell back in it. This is the time where I tell you, motherfuckers, go back and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to episode 323. You dig? Yeah. That's what they're doing. That's where they're moving towards. All these benefits are going to non-citizens. But hey, I talk about California so frequently. Like I said, I love California. That's where I was born. I grew up at. And I care about the state of California. If I didn't care, I'd be one of these motherfuckers just talking about hip hop and music all the time and saying this and that and the third. No, I care about California's economy. I care about California's growth. I care about California's crime. I care about business owners wanting to have businesses in California. I care about people being safe and protected in California. But let's go to your boy, Mark Zuckerberg. Remember Mark Zuckerberg had his reaction to Trump when Trump first had his assassination attempt? Remember what he said?
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. The historic events over over the weekend. And on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, it's, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
Now, you remember that, but he also has a different tune now, because now we learn he put out a letter, a very interesting letter the other day.
This morning, Meta chief Mark Zuckerberg admitting he bowed to pressure from the Biden administration to censor content. The Facebook founder issuing a letter to the House Judiciary Committee that said senior administration officials pushed the social media platform to censor posts about COVID-19 and expressed a lot of frustration when the company resisted. Zuckerberg saying, "I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it." Adding, "I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction, and we're ready to push back if something like this happens again." President Biden was asked about misinformation online in the summer of 2021.
On COVID misinformation, what's your message to platforms like Facebook? They're killing people. Look, the only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated, and they're killing people.
Biden later walked back the comment, insisting he wasn't attacking Facebook. Overnight, the White House responded to Zuckerberg's letter. "Our position has been clear and consistent. We believe tech companies and other private actors should take into account the effects their actions have on the American people, while making independent choices about the information they present." Zuckerberg going on to express regret for demoting content related to corruption allegations against Hunter Biden ahead of the 2020 election, alleging the FBI warned information circulating online was a Russian disinformation operation. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. Zuckerberg went on to say the company has changed its policies and processes to make sure it doesn't happen again. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan celebrating the letter, calling it a big win for free speech.
Now, this is my take on it. My take is, I believe the reason this is happening now, just my opinion, I believe whistleblowers are coming forward. Why the urgency now to come forward and say that? Thank you for doing it. Thank you for acknowledging what a lot of us have said, what I've said and a lot of other content creators have said, that Meta, i.e. Facebook, Instagram, a lot of these social media platforms, Meta has had their hand in disinformation when it comes to politics. Taking down things that questioned COVID, that questioned the Hunter Biden whole laptop scenario and everything. People were banned on Facebook and social media platforms. People were restricted. They weren't allowed to exercise their free speech. So Mark needed to be held accountable for that. But you still, by allowing that the Biden campaign to pressure you, you still participated in election interference, my guy. We've got to call a spade a spade. It is what it is. You know, that's what election interference is. And it's been happening in every election cycle, even midterms. We have to accept that. People have to know. You can't trust these platforms when it comes to information. That's why you have to do your own research. Yeah. So I wonder who's coming forward, because Mark put that out there quick. So somebody's got to be saying something. Is he sweating fucking bullets or what? Yeah. You see Tulsi Gabbard's endorsed Trump now? RFK, now Tulsi Gabbard. Trump's gaining momentum again. The polls are sitting here showing that, you know, Kamala's bump is starting to go down. Once she starts talking more, we said this was going to happen. But we'll see. You know, we shall see how this goes down and what happens next, because the debate's going to be telling. Twan, let's do the debate, man. We gotta handle that. It was an amazing time last time, and I expect nonetheless this time. I think it's on the 10th, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll get with you. But we'll be back. People want me to talk a little bit of hip hop. I normally don't, but people said, you know, just talk a little bit, man. Because Drake came out recently and put out a video talking about a game 2.
Put it in the front page, back page, middle page, wherever. Headliners, column 1 or 2, we will win game 2. Backing off. We will win game 2.
Now, people are thinking that he's talking about Kendrick on that one. It's interesting. I don't know. I will say the unreleased music that he's been putting out, it's been slapping. Now, I saw YG put out a new album and shoes, and his shit only sold 8,000 copies. It's crazy, right? 8,000 copies for YG, a rapper who's pretty well known. Is that a sign of YG not being the artist he thinks he is anymore? Unfortunately, because I like YG's music. Or is that a sign of the market slowing down? Or is it a sign that all these people being in the Not Like Us video, it didn't benefit them, like which I said weeks ago? Kendrick got a bump from this whole beef. All the artists that showed up to the pop-up and that were in the Not Like Us video, they're not seeing this bump. It's to each his own. Everybody's got to figure their own shit out. He's not there to help you niggas. Yeah. I said it. If there's a game 2, do I think there needs to be a game 2 or a second round of beef? I don't know. I'm here for the music, though. I enjoy the music. Like I said, I said it from the get-go. I win either way because I'm a Drake fan. I'm a fan of Kendrick, too. I like Drake more than Kendrick, but I'm from California, so if Kendrick wins, I win anyway. It's a win either way. I can't lose. You know? But we'll see. We're coming up on Labor Day weekend. Do you got plans for this Labor Day? You've got to make sure you're safe. You've got to make sure you get out there. This is the last weekend of the summer. I know here in Anchorage, it's summer's over with. I feel it in the mornings when I've been going to the gym. It's getting fucking cold. If you're going to go camping, if you're going to go to the fair and do all that other shit, this is it. Because it's done after this. I think we're going to have an early winter. And that's everywhere. I think winter's going to be early. New episode of Conversations with Cuzzo's out. Interview with the man named Pimp. I've got to say I enjoy giving you guys these interviews. This set of interviews are interviews that I did for a while that I've been sitting on, but I'm going to start doing a new round of interviews because I already have people in the tuck that I want to talk to again, and some for the first time. But I want to give you guys this content because I know some of you enjoy the political content. And then some of you enjoy the interviews and the actual conversations. So that's what I want to bring more of to you guys. And then, like I said, you're getting to know me through people that knew me and had experiences with me and kind of shaped and molded me into the man I am today. You know, Pimp was one of those solid ones like, you know, OG Frank, like Twan, you know, who, you know, looked out. We all looked out for each other and the brotherhood was intact. It was there. And we don't have that anymore. You know, that's not a thing that exists anymore. That's why a lot of the youth are lost, because they didn't have OGs to sit them down and say, no, that's not how you do this. If you're going to do this, if you're going to go this route, you got to move A, B, C, D. If not, do this, and this. Not just let these youngsters go out in the street and fucking wild out. We've got to bring the OG back. That's all I'm saying. So you guys got to get out, enjoy stuff. You know, it's Labor Day weekend. I'm going to enjoy it. And y'all listen to this episode. And when you listen to the Chronicles podcast, always remember, when you listen to me, this is what I always say to the other content creators, you know?
I'm better than you, and you know it.
And there you have it, man. Thank you guys for listening. I always want to tell you guys thank you for listening. I enjoy you guys taking time out of your day, whether you're in traffic, whether you're in the gym, whether you're at work, listening to me with an earbud in, whatever you're doing. I appreciate you spending time with me, because that means something to me. Because for all I know, until I look at the numbers, I could just be talking into the void, you know?
All right, I'll tell you a story. This is a newspaper, right? It's 90% bullshit, but it's entertaining. That's why I read it, because it entertains me.
And that's what I want to do. I want to be able to entertain you guys. So, you know, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all next week. We out.
Yeah, yeah.